Good morning. I'm going to start right now. Project management is typically something that's seen more as an art and a science, mostly science with the triple constraint of cost, schedule, and scope being something that engineers look at a lot. But as planners, we need to look at more the softer side, the Zen, if you will, the enlightenment. The enlightened state of project management as we look at it for projects, both soft and hard. But so we'll forget the science, and we're going to try and do my top 10 tips, because generally this early in the morning, I'm going to make it easy. You can track my progress. If I suck, if I'm number 5, I'm halfway through. So you know exactly where I'm at in the process. It'll be a little bit easier, and hopefully there won't be any sucking this morning, but we're going to give it a shot anyway, okay? We're going to be talking about different ways to approach it. One, we've got to be clear about project objectives. A lot of times, probably if a project, as statistics show, is 15% complete and encounters a problem, the problem will stay with it at the end, and it's generally a result of poor requirements definition. And we'll see here shortly, because a lot of times running our planning projects...
This man right here is my great-grandfather. He's the first cat herder in our family.
Projects generally are like herding cats, trying to get projects on time.
Don't let anybody tell you it's easy.
Anybody can herd cattle. Holding together 10,000 half-wild short hairs, well, that's another thing altogether.
One other way we have to look at it, number 2, is to think of every project very precisely, very specially, very specifically, as it fits into other things. And you'll see shortly how important that is, because that is one thing we need to do. We can't just look at projects in a vacuum. We need to see how it relates to every other project that's around it, and how it relates to the community in general, because you got to see how it fits into a larger context. To do a project on its own without trying to find out its ripple effect on other projects, other impacts in the community, is really foolish, regardless of whether the project's on time, on schedule, and on budget. In terms of fitting into a larger context, we'll see now in the next item, in number 3, how we see getting there to the right team, assemble the right team for the right job. And it's really important because regardless if you've got the most qualified team, if their qualifications don't meet your project requirements, your project scope, then you're not going to really get there and get there that quickly. So the right team for the right job is very important and something that needs to be considered right up front, as you'll see here.
What are we doing? No!
Okay, everything's going to be okay, all right?
Because if you don't have the right team, you'll have to make do with whoever you've got.
Breathe with the monkey.
The Trunk Monkey Pediatric Edition. An innovative idea you'll only find at Suburban Auto Group.
So next, number 4, you're going to have to identify mentors, advisors, and confidants. It's very important because if you identify these people to help you in the beginning, you'll have guidance throughout your career, and more importantly, and more limitedly, throughout your project. Whether the person is an advisor to you or can serve as a long-term mentor is very important because clearly...
Now that you're going out into the world, there's something you should know. You see that? Yeah? That's shit. And this is shinola.
The wisdom of Nathan Johnson can never be underrated, and we'll see how important that is a little bit later on.
When you're running with these animals, the one thing you can never do is show fear.
If you lose respect for the squirrels, you will have problems during the running. You have to be faster and quicker than the squirrels.
You need to beat a squirrel, in other words. You need to actively and sincerely understand the needs of the agency, better yet, the community in which you're developing that project and completing that project. Otherwise, you really don't have an appreciation for what that community's goals are. You're just doing a project as a professional engagement, and it really doesn't help the community that far. And basically, as planners, isn't our goal to really help the community. Again, Nathan Johnson, back to you.
The new phone book's here! The new phone book's here!
Well, I wish I could get that excited about
nothing! Are you kidding? Page 73! Johnson! Naven! R! I'm somebody now!
We really got to pay attention to the things and the people that matter. Unlike Nathan Johnson, we need to forget about being in the phone book. We need to pay attention to what's important for a project, what's important to the actual community that we're serving, to the agency that we're performing the work for. That's what's important. That's what we've got to look for. We can't just be looking at the unimportant, inconsequential things. Otherwise, we're not going to achieve that Zen that we're striving for.
Don't give us a ticket today, and just a warning.
License and registration.
Okay.
This is critical in the planning profession because, as we know, it really is political planning. It's the politics of planning.
This your monkey?
A revolutionary idea.
Basically, you can't rely on influence alone for your project approval. Although that's proven successful, particularly with all the corruption cases from the county that I'm in Palm Beach County, that is not the recipe for success. You've got to not rely on that. You've got to rely on the merits of your project and the quality of your project team. That's how you do it. So as we can see, we need to pay attention just a side entry into the science of project management. Pay attention to schedule, pay attention to dollars, because most of the work is really in 20% of the actual effort. It takes us 80% of effort to get 20% of the work done. So we really need to pay attention to schedule and dollars, because that is some of the most important things that will get you in trouble.
Let me walk you home.
Pay attention, you will end up in trouble. We need to be involved in the community. That is something that's really important. Whether you live in the community in which you work, in which you're performing your planning services, or whether you're just an employee in that agency, in that community, and live elsewhere, you need to become a part of that community that you're working in, because that is how you're going to be able to see the community through those residents' eyes. And lastly, and most importantly, you need to identify and celebrate success, because it's really important. No matter how the project goes at the end, even if it's just a minimal bit of success or a great thing that happens, you need to celebrate it and move on to the next project in a great way, as we'll see here from a little bit of action from Ricky Bobby.
Bobby with yet another impressive win. He is dominating NASCAR.
First or last, baby, you know it.
I've never seen a driver who wants
celebrate
to
it any way you can get it.
I can get used to this winning thing.
That is a zen and the art of project management for planners.